A very warm welcome to the people watching this video. This is a project made by Ajay and Aman Jaiswal of the B.Tech Computer Science branch for the Film and Literature project. We have decided to analyze the movie Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban and the differences it has from its book counterpart Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So let's begin. This is the video structure which we will be following. First, we'll have a brief explanation of the plot, and then we'll see the difference between the Prisoner of Azkaban movie and the movies which came prior to it, and then we'll see the difference between the movie and the book, and then we'll conclude with our thoughts about it.
So let's start with the plot of Harry Potter, what Harry Potter is all about. So I'm pretty much sure most of you watching this video definitely would have heard about Harry Potter, watched movie or read books. But then also let's see the plot. And if you haven't, please I would highly recommend watching a movie or reading books. They're one of the best movies and books I've ever read. So Harry Potter is about a boy named obviously Harry Potter. He's on his 11th birthday he gets to know that he's a son of two very powerful wizards. He's an orphaned son of two very powerful wizards named James and Lily Potter, and he himself is a wizard and has magical powers of his own. And he's called to a English boarding school for wizards named Hogwarts, where he can learn and hone his magical powers. So let's come to Prisoner of Azkaban. Prisoner of Azkaban is the third sequel to Harry Potter 8-part series, and it starts with third year of Harry Potter Harry at Hogwarts. This starts with Harry getting in the beginning of the movie or the film. He got to know that there is a serial killer, Sirius Black, who escaped Azkaban, a famous prison of wizards, and he's trying to kill Harry. He also knows that he also gets to know that Sirius Black was a very close friend to his parents, and he betrayed Harry's parent and helped Voldemort in killing his parent, killing James and Lily Potter, and also betrayed his parent in the process. So this is the first news that we came to know in the movie, and there's a very series of adventures that took place with this news, and also it turns out in the end of the movie that there's also very sequence of event that comes out. It turns out that Sirius Black was not actually a bad guy. He was trying to help his father. Somebody framed her in the wrong case. There was some other guy who was trying to betray other guy named Peter Pettigrew, who was disguised as a Ron's rat, who actually betrayed his parents and helped the Voldemort in killing his parents. And in the end, they used time travel. They use a turner to go back in the time and fix and help Sirius Black escape from Hogwarts when they were Dementors, as we call them, Dementors, the guards of Azkaban, trying to capture Sirius Blacks. So there was a very touchy reunion, and between gets to know between Sirius Black and Harry Potter, and Harry gets to know that Sirius Black is his godfather and was a very close friend to both James and Lily Potter. And there was Lupin. Both Lupin and Sirius was very. Lupin is a teacher. There was a teacher in the movie. Is a teacher of Harry. Was a teacher of Harry in the class of dark arts, and they both there was a very hearty union between the both friends, Lupin and Sirius. They both were very close friends to both James and Lily Potter. So this movie I like this movie because there was a very there was a very emotional aspect to movie where we get to know more about the friendship aspect of James and Lily Potter, how these people were when they were together, how the four Marauders were, how emotional, how their friendship was, how Harry Potter. There's an image of Sirius Black. There's a fatherly image of Sirius Black shown in the film that I really like.
Before we jump into the topic of the differences between the book and the movie, let's take a quick glance at the differences between the different movies itself. Prisoner of Azkaban, which was the third movie in the Harry Potter series, saw a lot of changes made from the previous films itself. The main reason for these changes was due to the shifting of the director from Chris Columbus to Alfonso Cuarón. Though some changes were inevitable, such as the casting of Michael Gambon as the new Dumbledore, which occurred because of the tragic death of Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore in the first two movies. Throughout all seven Harry Potter books, Dumbledore is shown as the wise, smart, and powerful wizard everyone looks up to and feels safe around. What was the difference between the Dumbledore played by Richard Harris and Michael Gambon? Richard Harris played the calm, relaxed, wise man with a long history behind him. He portrayed Dumbledore to be soft, gentle, and warm, which was all he did in the first two books, and the Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets. Michael Gambon brought fierceness to the role of Dumbledore. Dumbledore was often described in the books as a person who was extremely energetic and strong despite his very old age. He made us understand why Lord Voldemort was afraid only of Dumbledore and not any other wizard. He showed us the energetic, bubbly, and the serious side of Dumbledore, and this was a perfect fit for the future Harry Potter films, which were more serious and darker than the initial movies. Another drastic change between the first two movies and The Prisoner of Azkaban was that Hogwarts was completely changed. Hogwarts in the initial two movies was always brightly lit and reflected the childhood of their lead characters, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. In the Prisoner of Azkaban movie, Hogwarts was completely changed, satisfying the art directions of Alfonso Cuarón. Interestingly, the new version of Hogwarts was kept the same in the movies which were made after The Prisoner of Azkaban, even though they were not directed by Alfonso Cuarón, because Cuarón explored the different locations in the Harry Potter magical universe with several tracking shots, such as the castle, the path to Hagrid's hut, the bridge in Hogwarts, the lake in Hogwarts, etc. Since Alfonso Cuarón had set up the environment for Hogwarts so well with his great tracking shots and long shots, whenever people imagined about the place, people always visualized the Hogwarts as how Alfonso had created it in their minds. Thus, the other directors too decided to use Alfonso's iconic vision of Hogwarts, which is present everywhere we see today in pop culture.
So, as with every film adoption, they're bound to have some changes when we convert a medium or long size text into a movie. A story that took place over a period of 1 year cannot be totally converted, exactly converted into a movie of length 2 or 3 hours. So Harry Potter is not different from this. They're bound to have some changes, and Harry Potter has his own fair share of changes from the book. So the first change that we see is in the opening scene of the movie. In the movie, we can see Harry Potter. In the opening scene of the movie, we can see Harry Potter practicing magic spells from the comfort of his room under his bed sheet. But in the book, it's totally different. The book starts with Harry Potter celebrating his birthday, and opening presents that he received from Ron, Hermione, Miss Weasley. But in the movie, as we see, the opening scene in the opening scene of the movie, had him practice magic spells in the comfort of his own bed sheet. But every Harry Potter fan knows that using magic outside the campus or outside Hogwarts is prohibited, but and can lead to expulsion from Hogwarts. But the movie totally oversights this fact and had him practice magic spells from his bed.
Let's talk about the next difference between the movie and the book. One of the prime differences is the over exaggeration of action scenes in the movie. The first example of this is how Harry blows up his aunt in the film when she talks bad about Harry's parents. In the books, Harry's aunt just stays floating inside the house, which is relatively safe. But in the movies, just for the sake of action, she starts flying uncontrollably into the open sky and endangers her life. We can see the situation in the night bus too, where the bus seems to bend the laws of physics just for the sake of comedy and action. Another example for this would be Quidditch. Quidditch is a game played by Hogwarts students flying on broomsticks. In one scene in the book, when Harry falls from the broomstick due to the effect of the Dementors on him, he seems to fall a distance of around 20 to 30 meters from the ground in the books, which is still pretty safe considering you can magic him safely. But in the case of the movie, Harry seems to fall at least a distance of 100 to 200 meters from the sky, which is extremely dangerous and has been added just to increase the stakes and increase the action. It is still understandable why we exaggerate action in the movies, as we don't want to bore the audience too much. The next difference, the differences in the mechanism of Dementors. Here we see some key differences made between the book Dementors versus the movie Dementors. The book describes Dementors as dark creatures who feed on the happiness of people. When they come near people, they could feel all the happy thoughts in their brains to be replaced by cold and horrible thoughts. Since all these feelings are happening inside a person's brain, it is very tough for a movie to convey these actions and these emotions. So Alfonso Cuarón took some creative liberty here and decided to show that the Dementors affected the people even physically. Their presence now could be easily seen by them, freezing the nearby water bodies, which is much easier to see in the film and enjoy. The movie also shows the souls being represented physically using CGI to make people appreciate how dangerous the Dementors are when they try to suck your soul, and how they can perform the Dementor's kiss, which is a Dementor's worst weapon, used to suck the entire soul out of a person, which is worse than death. I'm happy that Koran took these liberties to show the effect Dementors had on people, which easily translated to the movie in a really well way.
So another difference that we see between movie and book is in the scene where Harry tries to write Buckbeaks in presence of entire class and Hagrid. So in the book, when Harry writes Buckbeak, they just roam around Hagrid's hut and comes back on the ground. But in the movie, we have all seen a very beautiful scene when where Harry rides with Buckbeak around entire Hogwarts. There is also a very beautiful scene where Hagrid and Harry are riding above the lake and Buckbeak's feet touches the water. So this is a very beautiful scene that has been added to the movie that is not present in the book. So this is a very positive change. I believe that it gives a very unique, visually appealing aspect to movie that book cannot provide. So also help the viewer understand the background or surrounding an area of Hogwarts, the environmental setup of Hogwarts, how the surrounding area in Hogwarts is actually look like. So it's a very positive change that is being done in the movie and brings a very unique style, visual appeal to the movie.
Moving on to the next difference, the story about the Marauder's map. This is the first Harry Potter book which removed a lot of details from the movie if they did not help the main plot. As a result, many subplots were removed from the movie. The main reason these many subplots were removed from the future Harry Potter movies is because the Harry Potter novels started getting very big, and converting 600-page books into movies is no small achievement. But the omission of the story about the Marauders map in Prisoner of Azkaban is, in my opinion, a very wrong move. The Marauders map was invented by Moni, Padfoot, Prongs, and Wormtail, which were the code names for Remus Lupin, Sirius Black, James Potter, and Peter Pettigrew, respectively. They were very close friends during school. They helped Lupin a lot since he was a werewolf. They also learned to transform into animals, which is very difficult for students to do, and accompanied him whenever he turned into a werewolf. Such was their dedication to their friend. The Whomping Willow, which is the tree shown many times in the movie for each season, was planted to prevent access to the Shrieking Shack, where Lupin transformed into a werewolf to prevent damage to the other students. All these were cut from the film. Thus, we could not feel any emotion when we learned that Peter Pettigrew betrayed his closest of the closest friends to Lord Voldemort, as they never show him as the best friend of Lupin, Sirius, and James, the creators of the Marauders map. Let's now talk about the absence of Crookshanks. The greatest betrayal of the book to the movie was the absence of Crookshanks. Crookshanks was Hermione's cat and is very smart. It is the cat which identifies that Ron's mouse Scabbers is not really a mouse, but it is Peter Pettigrew in disguise. Crookshanks also sets up a relationship with Sirius Black, who was in his dog form, which Harry mistakenly thought was a death sign, known as the Grim. Crookshanks understands Sirius Black and helps get Scabbers for him, and helps him access to the hostel room where Harry and Ron stay to capture Scabbers, etc. Crookshanks also tries to save Sirius Black when Harry tries to attack him, because Crookshanks knows that Sirius Black was innocent. Crookshanks can also disable the Whomping Willow to prevent it from attacking the people, giving access to the Shrieking Shack where Sirius had kidnapped Ron and Scabbers. All this was left out in the movie for the sake of simplicity of plot and for more action scenes with the Whomping Willow. This was a very negative step for the movie to take.
So another difference that we see between the movies and the book is in the time turner rules. When Hermione uses time turner to save Sirius, we can see she explains some rule of time turner to Harry that they should not interact with past or future versions of their self because it can break the time space continuum and lead to chaos. But ahead in the movie, we see that Hermione herself breaks the law of time travels by interacting with the past version of Harry by throwing a rock at Harry's head when they try to save Buckbeak. So this thing is not present in the book. They abide by they abide all the laws of time travel and does not interact with the past or future versions of their self while trying to save Sirius. So another difference that we see in between the movie and the book is towards the end of the film and at the end of the story. So in inside the valley, Whomping Willow, when they inside the Whomping Willow when Snape arrives at the scene. So Harry, Ron, and Hermione all three disarm Snape together in the book and hit him, causing him to hit against the wall and go unconscious. But in the film, it is only Harry who does this, taking wand sneakily from Hermione's pocket and surprising everyone in the process. And this is when Hermione speaks that you should not disarm, you should not use a spell on teachers. Harry, Snape is a teacher, and you should not use spell against teachers. This is a very, this is a very intense moment in the movie. Also, a difference that I saw in movie and the book is when Sirius arrives at the scene inside the Whomping Willow. In the movie, Hermione comes in front of Harry and tells Sirius that you should kill her first before reaching Harry. But in the book, it's Ron who does that, and I think it's a big change. This scene, I think Ron should have got instead of Hermione, because Hermione already had a pretty strong character in the movie. If Ron would have got this part in the movie, I think it would have added a much more better character, added a much more depth to character of Ron than what they did by replacing Ron with Hermione in that scene. So by this we comes to end of differences that we have between our movie and the book. So there are differences between the movie and the book. There needs to be differences due to the length of movie and the book. There is a very You cannot obviously convert a huge long text into a word to word into a movie. So there are changes, but still there I think book movie did a very good job in maintaining the essence of the film and maintaining the essence and the integrity of the story, while also giving a unique visually appealing aspect to the movie that books are not able the books lack.